Good day everyone! We are the group 3 and we are assigned to discuss about the history of basketball and the basic skills of basketball. So before digging deeper with the topic today, allow me to introduce to you first the members of group 3. We have Liza Patricia Lomongo, Sophia Magomang, Chester Malalay, Manilyn Marturillas, Edel Melecio, Aprilee Montehermoso, Jamaema Mustapha, Norlaila Orong, Moiselle Patria, and Clarisse Patual. Table of contents: first is introduction to basketball, second, history of basketball, and third is the basic skills of basketball. So now let us listen to the introduction report of Miss Lomongo.
So, basketball, a sport played by two teams of 5 players on a rectangular court, one of the world's most popular and widely viewed sports. A team can score a field goal by shooting the ball through the basket during regular play. Basketball is a team sport of up to 15 players with only 5 allowed in the court in any time. Each team consists of 2 forwards, 2 guards, and 1 center player. The basketball game starts with a jump ball. The referee throws the ball into the air in the center circle, and 1 player in each team leads up and tries to tap the ball away. So the objective of this game is to shoot a ball through a hoop of 18 inches or 46 centimeters in diameter and 10 feet or 3.0 meter high, mounted to a backboard to each end. Nature of the game: a field goal scores 2 points for the shooting team if a player is touching or closer to the basket than the 3-point line, and 3 points, known commonly as a 3-pointer or 3, if the player is behind the 3-point line. The team with the most points at the end of the game wins. The additional time or overtime may be issued when the game ends with a draw. Basketball is played on a rectangular court which is 22 to 28 meters long and 13 to 15 meters wide at each end of the court. There is a 45 centimeter wide hoop fixed on a panel suspended 3.05 meters above the ground. The basket 2 teams of 5 players compete over 4 quarters of 10 minutes each. A 15-minute halftime takes place between the second and the third quarter. The objective of both teams is to put the ball through the opponent's hoop to score as many points as possible. A scored shot called a field goal is worth 2 points or 3 if the player has thrown the ball from outside of the 3-point area. The team with a high score at the end of the play wins the game.
Good day everyone, my name is Sophia and Magomang. So for today's report, I'm gonna be tackle history of basketball. So what is the history of the basketball? December 1891, Canadian-American Dr. James Naismith, a physical education professor and instructor at the International Young Men's Christian Association Training School, was trying to keep his gym class active on a rainy day. Basketball was originally played with a soccer ball. The first ball made specifically for basketball were Browns, and it was only the late 1950s. The Tony Henkel searching for a ball that will be more visible to the players and spectators alike introduced the orange ball that now is common use. That muna ito gamit sa basketball, the ball orange. Motong gitawag nilang orange. Dribbling was not part of the original game except for the bounce pass. The teammates passing the ball was the primary means of ball movements. Dribbling was eventually introduced but limited by a dramatic shape of early balls influenced by a children's game named Duck on the Rock. The first official game was played in the YMCA Gymnasium in Albany, New York on January 20, 1992 with 9 players. Since Naismith and 5 of his original players were Canadians, it's not surprising that Canada was the first country outside the United States to play the game. Basketball was introduced in France in 1993 rather. In England in 1894, in Australia, China, and India, and so on, their father, and in Japan in 90s. Naismith developed basketball original 13 rules, and consequently, the game of basketball, the new enter game, was played with a soccer ball, which basketball with 9 to a side. So that's all. So that is the history of the basketball. Thank you. Let's proceed to the next reporter.
Good day everyone, I am Chester P. Malalay. As you can see guys in your screen, these are the 13th original rules of basketball by Dr. James Nassman. Take note that some of the rules are still used and some has been changed. The first rule is quite simple. The ball may be thrown in any direction with one or both hands, like chest pass, bounce pass, and overhead pass. This rule is still the same as now and has never been changed. The second rule, the ball may be batted in any direction with one or both hands but never with a fist. This rule still allowed in modern basketball. In the anime series Kuroko no Basket, there is a scene that the character batted the ball. Yes, you can bat the ball but you cannot punch it. Rule number 3. A player cannot run with the ball. The player must throw it from the spot on which he catches it. Allowance to be made for a man who catches the ball when running at a good speed if he tries to stop. But in these days, we call it traveling if a player walks with the ball without dribbling it. But the rule is still the same. Rule number 4. The ball must be held in or between the hand, not the arms or body must not be used for holding it. This means that you cannot use your arms or any body part on holding the ball. You can only use your hands. And that's it for rule number 4. Fifth rule, no shouldering, holding, pushing, striking, or tripping an opponent. Basically no fight. This rule has been used all this time because we don't want fight and conflict in sports. But the consequences of this rule has been changed now. The sixth rule, a foul is striking the ball with the fist. This means that you cannot strike the ball with your fist. That's it for rule number 6. Rule number 7. If a side makes 3 consecutive fouls, it counts as a goal for the opponents. This rule has been changed. Instead of an automatic goal, sufficient team fouls now award free bonus through attempts to the opposing team. Rule number 8. A goal shall be made when the ball is thrown or batted from the ground into the basket and stays there. This rule is no longer applies, as basketball now played with a hoop and net, not the original basket. It has evolved into goaltending and defense pass interference rules, including that defenders cannot touch the rim of the hoop once the ball has been shot. Rule number 9. When the ball goes out of bounds, it shall be thrown into the field and played by the first person touching it. This rule is still partially used in today's game. The ball is now thrown in by a player from the opposite team of the player who last touched it before it went out of bounds. But still the 5-second rule still applies. 10th rule, the umpire shall be the judge of the men and shall note the fouls and notify the referee when 3 consecutive fouls have been made. This differs quite a bit from the modern rules, as there are now 2 persons who are sitting on the sideline that keep track of the foul scores and time. Rule number 11. The referee shall be the judge of the ball and decide when it is in play and bounds to which sides it belongs and shall keep the time. The referee is still the one determines the ball position, but timekeepers and scorekeepers now do some of these tasks. Rule number 12. The time shall be 2 15-minute halves with 5 minutes rest between. The amount of minutes differs or varies by the level of play, such as high school versus collegiate formats. Last rule, number 13. The side scoring or making the most goals in the time shall be declared the winner. The winner is now decided by points, which does not equate goals made. When Nassman invented basketball, there were no 3-point shots, so that meant that the team with the most scores or goals would automatically win. But now, the team with the most points would win. And that's all the 13 original rules of basketball. In the early years, the number of players on a team varied according to the number in the class and the size of the playing area. In 1894, teams began to play with 5 on a side when the playing area was less than 1,800 square feet or 167.2 square meters. The number rose to 7 when the gymnasium measured from 1,800 to 3,600 square feet or 334.5 square meters, and up to 9 when the playing area exceeded that. In 1895, the number was occasionally set at 5 by mutual consent. The rules stipulated 5 players 2 years later, and this number has remained ever since.
Good day everyone, I am Miss Manilyn Marturillas and I am assigned to report from this part, which is the continuation of the report of the history of the basketball. So, originally players wore one of 3 styles of uniform, which is knee-length football trouser, jersey tights as commonly worn by wrestlers, or short padded pants for runners of this uniform, plus knee guards. So, every time we see a basketball player, especially this varsity, they wear knee-length football trouser that inside in their jersey shorts, and then sometimes the players wear also a padded pants, so for today's uniform, and then plus knee guard. So we always see that a basketball player or a varsity player of a basketball is wearing this uniform or this equipment or etiquette, which is this things is part of the proper etiquette of a basketball player. So let me show you some pictures to show the example of knee-length football trouser, short padded pants, and knee guards. Okay, so here is the example of knee-length football trouser. Okay, so before kasi yung mga sinusuot ng yung ginagamit ng laro is pang talaga, kasi yung kahit ng field is from the soccer field, and also the ball they used is the ball of football. So actually yung ganyan parang na-adapt na din from that certain game, but actually makikita din naman natin minsan, or makikita naman natin sa ibang mga players na ganyan din talaga yung sinusuot nila, yung knee-length football trouser. And then the other one is knee guards. Okay, so yung knee guard is usually see from the varsity player or even a volleyball player. Volleyball, basketball is usually. And then that is the padded short. So some players use padded short, not padded pants. Some people prefer to use padded shorts than padded pants. Okay, so the uniform of a basketball before, since the basketball is being discovered, is the revolution of basketball uniform is here. Just take a look from the picture. It's from 1938 to 1990. Okay, so from that picture, we can figure out that there is a changes of uniform from the players 1985 to something or some 1979 is just similar with the jersey uniforms as of today. We always this is really similar. This uniform are very much similar from the uniform today. And I will not discuss furthermore about the uniforms because I know already that you've seen already a uniform of a basketball. Okay, so I will go on with my report. Okay, so in 1895 to 1896, the points for making a basket goal or field goal were reducted from 3 to 2, and the point for making a free throw shots uncontested from a line in front of the basket after a foul had been committed. So were reduced from 3 to 1. Okay, so the game before is, as what I have said, or from the reviews reporter already mentioned, that the field of basketball is before is a field of a football game, not a basketball game. So that's why the field is being changed from 3 to 2. 2 is being divided, and then to reduce from 3 to 1. So and also from reduced to 3 to 1. It's because the throw or the shot uncontested from a line in the front of the basket after a foul had been committed. That's why the field is being reduced at that time. Okay, so next is nets open at the bottom were adopted in 1912 to 1913. So the net of the ring from the ring is being adopted in 1912 to 1913. Okay, so let us continue. The growth of the game, popularity and importance in the United States and internationally in the first 3 decades after World War II. Okay, tad po siya, isa siya ng popular. Interest in the game depend as a result of television exposure. But with the advent of a cable television, especially during the 1980s, the game's popularity exploded at all levels. Of course, that being shown from the televisions, the basketball game being popular. Okay, so that's all for my parts. That's all for my report. I am Miss Manilyn Marturillas again, and I will give the next report or the virtual floor to Miss Melecio. Thank you.
Hello, good day everyone. So I am Edel Melecio, and I'll be the first one to discuss the third topic of this group reporting, which is the basic skills in basketball. So if you are going to play basketball, you have to listen in this reporting because this is a relevant information or a good foundation if you are going to play basketball. So you need to know the basic skills in playing basketball so you can play smarter or you can play excellently on the hard court. Okay, now let us start for the first skill in basketball. So the first one is the positioning. So, excuse me for that. So traditionally, basketball has 5 specific positions in the court. So there are 2 guards, 2 forwards, and the last one is the center. So each of these basketball positions has their own rules and responsibilities. Remember that. So many years ago, the players who filled these positions would stick solely solely to the rule and avoid doing anything that was outside your position. Kumbaga, if you are a point guard, your rules and responsibility should only be a point guard. Kung point guard ka, nila nakapili may mga small forward. Kung sa man ka, flexible na ba kay ka para point guard ka tapos mag-center pa jud ka. So you need to stick solely on your position or in your rules and responsibilities sa hard court. So the center and power forward would dominate 90% of the rebounding but very rarely dribble the basketball. The guards would dribble the basketball up and down the court but very rarely would they enter the K area. So while basketball has advanced a lot in recent times, the players who fill this basketball position still have specific responsibilities. Now, let us break down each position and let us learn about it more. So there are 5 basic positions in basketball. Now let us first read the information given in the screen and I will explain it after. So since the 1980s, more specific positions have evolved, namely point guard, usually the fastest player on the team, organizes the team's offense by controlling the ball and making sure that it gets to the right player at the right time. Shooting guard creates a high volume of shots in offense, mainly long range, and guards the opponent's best perimeter player on defense. Next is the small forward, often primarily responsible for scoring points via cuts to the basket, and dribble penetration and defense, 6 rebounds and steals, but sometimes play more actively. Now let us first discuss or tackle the point guard. So the point guard, or also known as the floor general or the one man, is often one of the shortest players on the team and is responsible for advancing the basketball up the court and setting up the team's offense. So this requires the point guard to be highly skilled at dribbling and passing while rarely turning the basketball over to the opposition. So kaning mga point guard kay ilahang skills or ilahang rules or responsibilities to pass the ball sa ilahang kauban or sa ilahang teammates without passing it to the opposition or sa ilahang kontra. Kumbaga, highly skilled sila to pass the ball to the right time or to the right player at the right time. So once the offense has been set up, the point guard must be able to read what the defense is doing and make smart decisions. O ba, naakay dako kay responsibility ang point guard, which is he needs to read what the defense is doing and make smart decisions. So a high level of basketball IQ is crucial for this position, which is why the point guard is often referred to as the on-court coach. So when we say on-court coach, kumbaga sa 5 players, the first 5 players or the starting 5 sa basketball players, they are often called as the leader. Kumbaga sila ang team leader as well as the coach kay sila ang what do you call that? Sila ang advise what to do, what is the best thing to do sa court. Kay ang coach, kaya naa naman siya dito dapit sa mga bangko. So, dili kay siya kaingon nga, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, diba? So, natay gitawag nga point guard or as well as the on-court coach, kaya naaraman siya sa hard court, kay player man siya. Muna siya ang second or the leader of the team nga mag-ingon nga, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. Kaya syempre na ay access ang point guard sa mga players nga nasa hard court. Kumbaga, maistoryahan niya, kay doon naman sila, kay naaras sila sa same court. So the player filling the point guard position must be unselfish. So there's nothing worse than a selfish point guard and aim to get their teammates involved on the offensive end of the floor. This requires crystal clear knowledge of the playbook as well as understanding their teammates' strengths and weaknesses. Knowing what areas of the court your teammates thrive in allows the offense to take advantage of the mismatches. So as with all positions, the point guard should be able to knock down an open outside shot and also penetrate and pass to their teammates. So defensively, the point guard is responsible for guarding and disrupting the opposition's main ball handler. They do this by playing aggressive but smart full court defense, attempting to tip the basketball loose but ensuring they always stay between their opponent and the basket. Next is the shooting guard. So shooting guard is also a pivotal role in the basketball. So the shooting guard, also known as the off guard or 2, iba kay ang point guard is one man. So, the shooting guard is the off guard or the 2. So, the shooting guard is often one of the shorter players on the team and generally starts an offensive position on the wing. So, this is a scoring position as what I have said a while ago. If you are a shooting guard, you are the one who will secure scores for your team. So, This player must be able to shoot consistently from outside, mid-range, and close to the basket, as well as be able to make a variety of layups including floaters, Eurosteps, and reverse layups. So being able to score from anywhere on the floor means the shooting guard is always a threat, and many basketball plays can be run for them. So best example for this, if you have or if you know Stephen Curry, so he is the shooting guard in their team. Diba he always secure points in his team, diba, the Golden State Warrior. So they are also the team's secondary ball handler and can help advance the basketball up the court if the point guard is competing against a tough opposition defender. On the defensive end of the floor, a great shooting guard defender is quick and able to avoid screens from the opposition's bigs. Next is the small forward. So, ato ang mga mailhan nga mga notable small forwards na nga makita gyud nato sa TV sa NBA since we are watching NBA kasi lang LeBron James, Scottie Pippen, Kevin Durant, and Larry Bird. So, muna silang mga notable or mga famous kaayo nga mga small forwards na very known kaayo sa ilahang position or sa ilang rules and responsibilities. So, the small forward, or also known as the 3, is often the most versatile. So, when we say versatile, kaya kanang ready kaayo sa tanang mga challenges, kumbaga. So, of the basketball. So, they are often the most versatile of the 5 basketball positions on the court, both offensively and defensively. They are long and athletic, which allows them to be incredibly disruptive on the defensive end of the court and usually makes them the team's best defensive player. The best small forwards also have an offensive game. Similar to the shooting guard position, they are able to shoot consistently from outside, score inside, and also penetrate and create for their teammates. So to put it simply, they are the Swiss Army knife of a basketball team. They can do everything on a basketball court. This includes helping out the 2 bigs with rebounding the basketball on the defensive end of the floor. Now let us proceed to the next slide. Okay, so next is the power forward. So the power forward plays offensively often with their back to the basket. On defense, plays under the basket in a zone defense or against the opposing power forward in man-to-man defense. And lastly is the center, uses height and size to score, to protect the basket closely or on defense or to rebound. So now let us start first with the power forward. So ito ang mga notable power forwards is Tim Duncan, Dennis Rodman, Karl Malone, and Kevin Love. I don't know if you know them, but if you are into basketball or NBA, you will know them. But it's important that you know them so you can have an idea what is power forward, what do they do on the hard court, so you will have an idea if you are going to play basketball on your local basketball court. So the power forward, also known as the 4, is usually the second tallest player on the team and is required to be both strong and skilled. In past years, the player in this position always played close to the rim and scored the majority of their points in the paint. In today's game, the power forward needs a good mid-range jump shot, especially from the short corner, and will be even more effective if they are able to consistently hit a 3-point shot. Players who can do this are known as a stretch 4, okay? So whether this player spends most of their time inside the 3-point line or on the perimeter will depend on the offense the coach chooses to run with their team. So defensively, having size and strength is important for boxing up their opponent and securing rebounds. So if you are a power forward, so ang imuhang skills or the required skills to be a power forward is strong and skilled, diba? Strong and skilled. So you need to have a great strength, great ability or skills in doing the power forward position. So you could secure rebounds. So next is center. So notable centers I know is Bill Russell. So the center, or also known as the 5, is usually the tallest and strongest player on the team and spend most of the game close to the basket. So offensively, most centers didn't have a consistent mid-range shot or a 3-point shot, nor are they typically the focus of most offenses. Instead, they will score the majority of their points by staying close to the rim and scoring off offensive rebounds or by receiving short passes when a perimeter player penetrates and their defender is forced to provide help defense. So this requires that they have good hands and a high basketball IQ to know where to move around the ring to give passers the best angle. So kanila ni sila no kaning mga center kinaragyo ni sila near the what do you call that? Near the ring. Correct me if I'm wrong. So mostly sila ang mga naga-rebound sa mga or sila ang naga-rebound sa bola nga wala na shoot sa ilang opposition team. Then usahay pod sila ang naga-rebound sa mga panitan ang 3-point shot kay wala na shoot sa ring. The center kay usually kay they are near the ring, sila ang maga-rebound para mag-secure gihapon og points sa ilang team. So since this requires or the center requires that they have good hands and a high basketball IQ to know where to move around the ring to give passers the best angle. So kani po din sila no, since sila man ang duol sa ring, so ang ubang players nga in order para maka-pass sa iyaha, siya mangita og angle nga walay mo screen sa iyaha, walay mo defense sa iyaha, kanang kumbaga free ang center to secure a point kay para ma-adan ang point sa lahang team. So the best centers have a good post game and can score with a variety of moves from the low post area. This is especially necessary when they get switched into a smaller and weaker player. So defensively, the two main responsibilities of a center is to defend the basket and rebound the basketball. Like what I have said a while ago, mag-defend sila sa basket. Like for example, ilang palakon ang mga nag-try o shoot or slam dunk or yes, kanang mga short range nga pag-shoot sa bola, ilang mga palakon, they are usually the tallest and strongest kay syempre if you are the tallest ug naka sa center imo gyud i-secure or defending mo inyong basket then pagka man maglibang mo sa bola or inyong palakon ang mga nag-try or nag-try og shoot maka-score. So the center doesn't necessarily need to be a great shot blocker. Simply taking up space in the paint and forcing opponents to change their shots is often enough to prevent a score. So that would be all for the basic positioning in basketball. Now let us watch this the dimension or the court or this image in this screen. So like what I have said, the point guard is usually here. As you can see, there's number 1. One is sila ang kumbaga mag jump ball usahay no, di ba kay ingon ko ang point guard is the leader or the one man in the team. So ang small forward na diri, ang shooting guard na diri sa number 2, and center is near the rim or the wing, and the power forward. So just remember the basic positioning here in this image if you are going to play basketball, because this is like what I have said is a very relevant information and a good foundation if you are going to play basketball in the future or just in your local area to para magpasingot, maglingaw-lingaw. So point guard, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and the center. So that would be all. So the next basic skill in basketball is the shooting. So thank you very much for listening and good luck.
So, good afternoon everyone. So, the basic skills of basketball is the shooting. So, when we say shooting, it is the act of attempting to score points by throwing the ball through the basket. Methods varying with players and situations. So, shooting also, a player faces the basket with both feet facing the basket. Then, a player will rest the ball on the fingertips of the dominant hand, or which is called the shooting arm. So slightly above the head with the other hand supporting the side of the ball. So the ball is usually shot by jumping, though not always, and extending the shooting arm. The shooting arm, fully extended with the wrist fully bent, is held stationary for a moment following the release of the ball, known as the follow through. So, in follow through, players may shoot directly into the basket or may use the backboard with redirect the ball into the basket. So, I have here a picture of the shooting. So, we have also called the beef. So, in shooting, the B stands for balance. Balance is to make sure that your feet are shoulder width apart. Then the E stands for eyes, to make sure that you are looking where at you want to go. So the second E stands for the elbows, so to make sure that your elbows are bent. And then the last one is the F. It stands for the follow through, which means make sure you follow the direction of the ball once you have taken the shot by flicking your wrist.
Good day everyone! So let us continue with the types of shooting. So as we all know naman, ang shooting is an important skill in basketball. In order for a player to contribute to the team and earn points, is kinahanglan makabalo siya unsahon pag-shoot sa ball into the ring. So there are many types of shooting that is utilized by players para makashoot sa ball. So let us get to know first kaning gitawag nato nga jump shot. So jump shot is the most important shot in basketball. This shot is hard to defend against and allows you to score from a long distance. It is a basic shooting technique in which a player throws the ball towards the basket from a straight vertical jump. The jump shot is done with one hand, where the second hand holds the ball in place until the shot is taken. Okay, so in this shot, ang player is mo-jump and release the ball at the peak of the jump. So one hand will be used to direct the ball towards the ring or shoot sa ball, while the other hand will be placed at the side of the ball as a support and hold the ball in place until the shot is taken. So, kaning jump shot, it is said na it is hard to defend. It is because this shot allows the player to take aim from a higher position and therefore prevents a defender from blocking the ball. So aside sa advantage na this shot is used to get leverage above a defender, is kaning jump shot, it also helps the player to get a better look at the hoop or ring and get more strength for a shot. So, as you can see Mr. Anthony Davis from Los Angeles Lakers is executing a perfect jump shot. So, there are three factors para mabuhat ng perfect jump shot. First is ang stance, so how he positions his feet. Second is ang alignment of his body from his feet to his shoulders as a support to the fluid jump shot motion. And third one, which is ang pinaka-importante, is ang hand positioning. So in jump shot, everyone, we have to remember of two important things para makabaluta about aning jump shot. First is that the release point of the ball is usually higher. Second is that a player releases the ball when he has already elevated off of the ground or the floor. So that's all about the jump shot. Now let's go to layup. Layup is just what it sounds like, a shot where we lay the ball up on the backboard or over the rim and into the basket. This is also one of the most basic and common ways of scoring a basket in the game. Layups are the backbone of any team offense and every player's offensive repertoire. It is a 2-point shot, meaning it is worth 2 points. Okay, so during a shot, mo drive ang players padulong sa ring and then jump closer to the target, which is ang ring, and place the ball over the ring.
Sa layup, pwede sad pabanda sa backboard ang pag-release ni player sa bola para ma-shoot over the ring. To execute the layup, mo drive ang player padulong sa ring or iyang i-dribble ang ball padulong sa ring. Then mo take na siya 2 steps, then i-release ang ball either pabanda sa board or directly over sa ring.
So, sa layup, mo na siya ang common na way of scoring a basket in the game. So, if nakabantay bitaw mo sa mga PBA, NBA, or any basketball games, is Money ang usually nga gibuhat sa mga players or ilang shot na himuon para maka-earn of points. It is because this shot is easy na mo siya to execute and this shot is taken close to the ring which ensures nga ma-shoot jud ang ball. So, this shot is every player's offensive repertoire, meaning every player is prepared to make this shot or execute this shot. Every player knows how to do the layup. So, ang layup po di ay, it is used with only one hand or execute siya with only one hand. So, as you can see Stephen Curry from the Golden State Warriors, he is executing a layup. So, as you can see, one hand lang yung gigamit and the shot is taken very close to the ring. So, next is ang Slum Dunk. Slum Dunk is a shot in which a player jumps up and forces the ball through the basket. The dunk is usually the most spectacular shot and is one of the toughest features in basketball. It usually requires more jumping ability than shooting skills. To execute a slum dunk, dribble and charge towards the hoop when ready to execute the dunk. Jump explosively to get as high as possible and leap towards the hoop or ring. Lift the ball above the rim and push or slam it forcefully through the ring. So I believe no that we are all familiar with the term slum dunk. Kay sa usa ka local TV channel na sila gidub nga TV series which is called Slum Dunk nga very popular among Filipinos back then. So kaning slum dunk, this is an aggressive shot attempt wherein ang player is mo jump siya and quite literally islam niya ang ball into the ring. So ang slum dunk, it can influence a momentum shift in a basketball game. So, makabantay mo ka ng sa NBA or any basketball games, di ba? Pag makashoot gani ng player, makadunk ng player, di ba, the crowd and the teammates will make some noise and they will get very excited. And that dunk na himo sa player will become one of the highlights of that basketball game. So, ang advantage sa paggamit aning slum dunk is that it is difficult to miss this shot, lalo na if the player can jump high enough. That is why, as stated sa PPT, mas needed ang jumping ability sa player kaysa sa iyahang shooting skills when executing this slum dunk. And another advantage ani slum dunk is it is lisod sad i-block. So, kaning slum dunk, it is worth 2 points.
To execute the slam dunk, after madribble ni player ang ball towards the ring, is mo-take din na siya 2 steps to get ready for the jump. And then mo-jump din siya explosively and lift the ball. Then dunk it on the ring. Mauni siya everyone ang shootanan sa ball. So ang rim, mauna siya ang orange or red na metal circle where naka-attach si net at the bottom. Behind the rim, kanang rectangle na board is mauna siya ang backboard.
So as you can see sa pictures, we have 2 players executing the slum dunk. Ang isa is just using one hand and ang isa pod kay 2 hands. So either of the 2 are possible and they are allowable. And as you can see naman sa faces sa players, there is the aggressiveness. So that is all about slum dunk. And now let us continue listening to the types of shooting by the report of Miss Orong. Thank you for listening.
Good day everyone, my name is Norlaila Orong and this is the continuation of the types of shooting. So we have here the hook shot. So a hook shot is when the shot is made while your body is not directly facing the basket. So as it said here, the body of the player is not directly facing the basket. So lisod ni i-block sa defender because lahi lagi naka-face ang body sa player. Dili siya directly into the basket. So also lisod po din siya i-block tungod sa ilang distances. So actually lisod ni siya nga shot so dili ni basta-basta, dili tanan maka-shot ani murag regular shot lang. So usually mga taller players ang nagabuhat ani. So dapat pag magbuhat ka ani mga shot is dapat na kay proper placement, form and balance. So ang famous na nakagama na bitaw aning hook shot is si Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So nice ni siya nga murag technique parang murag ing ato. So To make the shot, jump with your left foot, pushing off the guard if you're making a right-handed shot or vice versa. So the shooting arm should be slightly bent and it should thrust upward as the ball is lobbed with a flick of the wrist. So we have here the example of the hook shot. So ayan, so as you can see, di ba, layo ra kaayo ang bola sa player. So murag protektado ra kaayo ang bola So so lanta, di ba? So pag left ang imong i-push sa ground, left foot, then right dapat. So pag right po, dapat left ang imong kamot. So di ba? Murag protected ra kaayo ang bola and layo ra kaayo sa sa imong opponent. Dili ra kayo mag-block. So nice na siya. Mura siya technique pero lisod pod lagi kay kailangan na ay proper placement for man balance. So, kailangan mag-practice. So, kung ganahan ka mag-practice, di ba? Nice ni nga koan. Pero, dili pod basta, kung makabalo ka, dili pod ni mo magamit permit kay makabalo na ang imong opponent na maulagi na imong buhaton. So, kailangan maraming technique. So, we have here the bank shot. So, a bank shot is when any shot made where the ball hits the backboard before heading into the net. So, ang bank shot is kana bitong basta mag-shoot ka. Diba? Dili siya directly into the ring. Dapat sa backboard daan siya. Diba? Backboard tapos na ay ring. So, dapat dito daan siya sa ring. So, dapat po, pag mag-shot ka ng bank shot is dapat sa ring, sa backboard, then sa ring dayon. Dili kay porket bank shot bisan asa na dahil nga backboard dito sa pinakakilid or sa baba sa kuan, dili dapat perfectly shoot pud nimo to dito sa ring. So mao to siya ang bank shot. So mao to siyang ginatawag ng bank shot. So to execute a bank shot, treat it as though you're taking a jump shot, but this time aim slightly higher by shooting for the backboard. So maulag ito akong giingon nga kailangan sa taas pod imong pag-shoot para mo directly pod siya sa ring. Dili pod porket bank shot is pwede na dito sa pinakakilid or sa ubos atong akuan. Dapat pod pag mag-shoot ka is kanang directly bitaw siya sa net. So mag-bounce daan siya sa sa backboard dayon sa net, backboard net. Moto. So jumping higher can also sometimes mean jumping slightly backward when aiming for the basket to prevent defender from blocking the shot. So, pag maghimo kaning bank shot is, di ba? Usual, di ba ang mga players, ang mga shooter is basta mag bank shot is kanang mag-jump sila tapos mura bitag mo backward bitaw, mura bitag mo bitaw. So like that kanang makabantay mo basta na mag-shoot is kanang mura slag mo backward, diba? So, inabuhat to para to prevent the defender from blocking the shot. So, mo to para dili ma-block imong shot. So, dili ra magtindog ra ka tapos mag-jump ra ka tapos kuan, di ba? I-defend man gud na sa opponent nimo. So, i-block man gud na nila. So, kailangan murag na technique. Murag yung technique kaning mga kuan, mga types of shooting, di ba? Kaya kaniya ba shot is, di ba? Nice kaayo basta mura kag mo backward. So, auto. So, the ball should not hitting the rim too much after bouncing off the backboard. The ball should then bounce off the backboard and into the net. So, dapat lagi mo kuantaan siya, mo bounce daan siya sa backboard, dayon sa net dayon, backboard net. So, mauto siya. So, na example dere. So, mauto siya. So, dapat dire siya bitaw mo bounce daan siya dire into the net. Into the ring. Ay, tama ba? Ring ba? So, mauto. So, dapat mo bounce daan siya dire tapos mo shot dayon. Diretso. Dili pwede dire kay unsaon niya pagkuan, di ba? Kailangan mo bounce mo kailangan dire pud sa iyang taas tapos diretso shoot dayon. Dire o kaning arrow dire, di ba? Na pwede dire tapos diba? Kanang murag naman gud mga technique. Murag ni technique. So, ginatawag nga bank shot pag mag-bounce daan siya sa backboard papuntang net. So, mauto. So, kailangan pod is ma-shoot pod, no? So, dili pwede dire mabutang or dire kay unsa man pag-shoot nga ginatawag. So, mo na ginatawag na nga bank shot. So, a free throw. So, we have here the free throw. So, kabalo siguro, no? Pero explain gyapon. So, a free throw or full shot is unguarded scoring attempt that a referee award a basketball player after an opposing team member commits a foul against them, their team, or an official. Free throws provide a basketball team with the opportunity to score points outside of the shot clock during a basketball. So, di ba ang free throw is maka-free throw ra ang imong kanang opposing team or imong team pag ang imong opposing team is kanang na-foul sila like that. So pag na-ma-foul sa kontra nimo, makakuan mo, kanang maka-free throw mo. So one score ra na. So basta kanang free throw is kanang walay walay magpugong nimo kanang free throw mo lagi to free ka nga mag shoot. Okay, mo to. Tapos kanang sa gilid nimo is na dito imong nakauban ang imong mga kontra. Tapos ikaw kay naka dito sa nila. So dito sa front tapos mag-shoot ka dito. So free ra ka. So, before attempting to shoot, one must maintain their balance, find the nail or do not in the middle of the free throw line up and line your shooting foot against it. For right-handed shooters, the shooting foot will be the right foot and vice versa. So, maula gito before. Kailangan i-maintain ang balance. So, kailangan i-find mo kanang comfortable na maka-shoot ka. Free throw line and line your shooting. So, your elbow on your shooting hand must be lined up to be an L right under the ball with the fingers parallel. So, murag ana bitaw, murag ana ba? So, like that. Like that ka na mag-shoot. Okay, so it aims for the back, for the rim with your eyes focusing on the rims. Do not look at the ball while you execute the shot. So ang aims lang dyan nimo or ang focus nimo is ang putang rim, di ba? Ano to? Tapan ako siya. So natin example dere. So mauna. So dere free throw. So naka dere. Tira, tapos naadire imo mga kauban and kontra. Kay pag ma-shoot naman good na pag dili man na ma-shoot is kuan man good na sa kontra nimo, so dapat shoot pud nimo, di ba? For chance naman good na nimo na maka-score. So that's all for my report. So I will give the virtual floor to Miss Patria. Thank you.
Rebounding. The objective of rebounding is to successfully gain possession of the basketball after a missed field goal or free throw. As it rebounds from the hoop or backboard, this plays a major role in the game, as most possessions end when a team misses a shot. So, rebounding is the act of grabbing the ball after a missed shot. So, there are two categories in rebounding. So, offensive rebounds, in which the ball is recovered by the offensive side and does not change possession. So, an offensive rebound is when your team shoots the ball and misses, then you grab the rebound, but you still have a chance to put it back in the basket. The second category in rebounding is the defensive rebound, in which the defending team gains possession of the loose ball. A defensive rebound, it is the ball when the opposite team shoots the ball, you grab it, pass it to your teammates, and dribble down the floor to score on your basket. So, passing. Passing is a method of moving the ball between players. Most passes are accompanied by a step forward to increase power and follow through with the hands to ensure accuracy. It is a way for players to move the ball on the court between teammates. Passing is a two-step process that requires a minimum of two players on the same team to work. The passer must be accurate and must put the correct amount of velocity on the pass in order to reach their teammates in a timely fashion and in the right location. In order to pass the ball, a player must throw or move the ball to a teammate, and the teammate must catch the ball.
Okay, so hi everyone, my name is Clarisse Patual and I am the reporter of this part, which is the types of pass. So first, we have the chest pass, second is bound pass, third is overhead pass, fourth is outlet pass, fifth is no-look pass, and the last one is behind the back pass. So these 6 types of pass is very common in the basketball sport. Yeah, of course, if you like watching basketball, makita na to ni siya nga mga types of pass nga gibuhat sa player. So, let's proceed to the next slide. So, first is the chest pass. The ball is passed directly from the passer's chest to the receiver's chest. A proper chest pass involves an outward snap of the thumbs to add velocity and leaves the defense little time to react. So, in chest pass, ang ball daw is dirigi position, dirigi butang ang ball sa player, and then ang pagpasa niya sa ball is dito na po i-receive sa next player, dito na po sa chest niya i-receive. So, dito na to makita sa next slide ang forma sa chest pass. So, in this image, makita na to ang chest pass kung unsay position kung unsay forma. Ang thumb is nasa ubos-ubos, then diri magamit og force para ma-push, para mapasa ang ball sa weakest player. Second one is the bounce pass. So the passer bounces the ball crisply about 2/3 of the way from his own chest to the receiver. The ball strikes the court and bounces up toward the receiver. The bounce pass takes longer to complete than the chest pass, but it is also harder for the opposing team to intercept. Kicking the ball deliberately is a violation. Players often use the bounce pass in crowded moments or to pass around the ball. So in this part of bounce pass is mas lugay siya kaysa sa chest pass because ang chest pass ipasa mo siya directly sa imong ka-team, but this one is imong pa siyang ipa-bounce. For example, kanang nablockingan na kasalaing team, maglisod na kaugpaso, ang imong buhaton is ipa-bounce nimo. Then ang nakanayas lang aning bounce pass is dili siya basta-basta pwede matouch sa imong kontra, kay kung matouch to siya is violation na ang tawag ato. So, next is, for ni siya ang example sa bounce pass. So, outlet pass occurs after a team gets a defensive rebound. Next pass after rebounding. So, ang kaning outlet pass, ang player siya nag-rebound, pero ang iyang bola, dili siya ang mag-shoot ato sa ring. Iyang gipasa, siya nag-rebound, pero iyang gipasa sa iya ang ka-team. For example, kaning nasa image of naiga-guard sa iya, giblockingan siya. So, iyang gibuhat is ipasa niya og pidali sa iyang kauban. Fifth one is the no-look pass. A special way of doing this is passing the ball without looking at the receiving teammate. So, for example, ang kaning player is nablockingan siya, na-surrounded siya sa iyang mga team. Naglisod siya og dribble, naglisod siya og shoot sa ring. Ang iyang gibuhat is para matrick niya ang laing opponent is iya ang giuwat ang mga iyang ka-opponent nga dili siya molingi kung kinsa iyang pasahan sa bola para dili dayon makuha ang bola. So muni siya ang example sa no look pass. So kita nato siya nga wala siya galingi kung asa ipasa niya ang bola. So the last one is the behind the back pass. Advanced style of passing the ball involves throwing the ball behind the passer's back to a teammate. So, makita po natin siya kung mahilig ta maglantog basketball, no? Makita po natin siya nga ipasa, dito mag-dribble sila, pero ilang ipasa sa ilang kauban, pinaagi sa kilid or pinaagi sa likod. Hindi na ito makita, ha? Kita to example. Ingani, ang pagpas na po sa lifestyle nga, ingani ang pagpasa sa kilid. So, that ends my report. So, thank you for watching, guys. God bless.
So, dribbling. Dribbling is the act of bouncing the ball continuously with one hand and a requirement for a player to take steps with the ball. A player pushes the ball down towards the ground with the fingertips rather than patting it. This ensures greater control. So, there are types of dribbling. First is the high bounce. Second is the change of pace. Third is the crossover. fourth, between the legs, and lastly, fifth, behind the back. So, blocking. Blocking is performed when after a shot is attempted, a defender succeeds in altering the shot by touching the ball. The act of blocking is pretty simple. It involves you getting in the way of your opponent and using your hands to stop the basketball. So this is the example of blocking.
If he goes up with the idea that I want it right here, I'm going up, I'm going to